All right, welcome back to On the Sidelines with Sav. Today it's just me from my parents' house, so there might be a special guest. It depends what time my dad gets home, and also my parents' dog could come in at any moment. Oh gosh, we had something change. Oh, here we go. Here's the messages. It kind of changed. Anyways, okay. We're gonna do a quick recap of week 13. Is that week 13? Yes, that's week 13 of the ACC this last week. And then we're gonna talk about what everybody actually cares about is rivalry week. So we'll get into that a little bit too. Obviously, I am repping my rivalry gear all week this week. And if you can't tell by my tweets, you should read them all. I don't talk shit except for rivalry week. And everyone's like, what if you lose? What if this? What if that or the other? You guys, my dad could be 1-11 and I would still talk my shit on rivalry week. It's fun. I'm not saying anything hurtful or hateful or coming for people in any personal type way. Like, talk your shit. It's hilarious. I love seeing fan bases talk shit on rivalry week because honestly it's funny. Like, it's funny. I'm also giving that was ADD brain, but like I'm also really giving Dwayne the Rock Johnson. But okay, let's get into it. We'll keep this recap pretty quick, starting off with the Friday night game that we had. Florida State travels to NC State. I did a live preview with my good friend TJ, and we went out on the town, showed him Raleigh, showed him the vibes. He said that his favorite away game prior to going to Raleigh was Louisville. So we're going to have to get him back on the channel and see if that's changed since he's experienced Raleigh. Obviously, it wasn't like the top-notch Raleigh experience because it was a Friday night game. So I took him out on a Thursday night instead of a Friday night, and the vibes are definitely different on a Thursday than a Friday. But it's been known that Florida State has a tough time playing in Carter Finley. It was an upset because Florida State was a 2.5-point favorite. The disrespect, crazy. One of my keys to victory for NC State to win that game was we just needed somebody to step up and get some PBUs on the secondary. And honestly, I wish I could add like a fake cheering, clapping sound. That's exactly what happened. Our defense played extremely well. Special shout out to Marshall. He's number 6. He killed it. I can't remember his exact stats, but he had like 5 PBUs. Pretty sure he had an interception. It was crazy. He played his ass off. Just a good all around, dare I say, complimentary football game. But yeah, I said it on Twitter this week. Mike Norvell said Mike Norvell can't beat any teams in the ACC, but he sure as hell knows how to beat teams in the SEC. Give me the Noles in the swamp this weekend in Gainesville beating Florida. So, what does my hat say? Go to hell, Carolina. Which actually is a really good question and thing to bring up. Everyone's like, that's so rude and hateful. It's actually like in the fight song. We literally say in the NC State fight song, go to hell, Carolina. So it's literally just part of the fight song, which I would wear it regardless. But like, that's where the phrase is from. It's from the NC State fight song. Love this hat. Working on getting like a link because I know there's a lot of people that want this hat. It like went out of stock. I couldn't find it anywhere. I reached out and they haven't reached back out to me. So I am working on it. All right, moving on to the Saturday matchups. NC State ended up beating FSU 21-11. Tommy Castellanos was the passing leader, had 203 yards. Hollywood Smothers was the rushing leader with 84 yards, and Deuce Robinson was the leading receiver with 74 yards. Moving on to our Saturday slate in the ACC, the first game that we had was Syracuse at number 9 Notre Dame. There's really not much to say. Notre Dame beat Syracuse 70-7. Jeremiah Love had almost 200 yards rushing. Kevin Coleman Jr., Dan Villari, I apologize, was the leading receiver with 30 yards. And Joseph Filardi was the leading passer with 83 yards. By the end of the first quarter, Notre Dame had already scored 3 touchdowns and hadn't had a single offensive snap on the field, if that just tells you anything. I'll leave my personal thoughts about Syracuse and their coaching staff aside, but just an all-around bummer of a season for them. Whether they deserve it or not still sucks to see happen. There was potentially the best tweet that I've ever seen in my life tweeted about this game. Some man said, and I quote, "Notre Dame is playing Syracuse as if they themselves murdered Jesus Christ." And I quite literally have never heard anything funnier in my whole life. I did comment on the tweet and pinned it or like bookmarked it because if I ever need a laugh, I will be going back to that tweet. But it was literally so funny. And that's actually a perfect description for how that game actually ended up going. Next up, we had number 13 Miami traveling to Virginia Tech. Miami ended up winning 34-17. Carson Beck went through for 320 yards. Malachi Toney had 150 yards receiving, and Hawkins had almost 100 yards rushing. Honestly, I'm actually just proud to see that Virginia Tech didn't give up. Not that I think they're like a give up team, but they obviously had a lot of stuff going on this week with the naming of their new head coach, James Franklin. So to see them still battle it out, have fans in the stadium, all the things, I am impressed. Obviously, I'm impressed by that fan base and have been for a really long time, given the way that their program has been trending the last several years instead of the way it was before that. They obviously could do the funniest thing this weekend, which isn't outside of the realm of possibility. If you know anything about the UVA Virginia Tech rivalry, it's very one-sided regardless of how good or bad either team has ever been. Since the year 2000, UVA has only won the rivalry twice, in the year 2003 and in 2019. And in 2019, when they won, it was also a win guaranteed them a spot in the ACC championship. So they're playing for the same stakes. It also was in Charlottesville that year. And so we will see how it goes. Someone said it best about Georgia. They don't have a losing in Sanford Stadium problem. They have an Alabama problem. And I will simply say the same about UVA. Until I see UVA regularly, like maybe 2 times in a row, beat Virginia Tech, I will always assume that Virginia Tech is going to win that game regardless of where it is. Interesting week ahead there. Moving on, we had Pitt travel to number 16 Georgia Tech. Guys, I don't want to talk about this game at all, so I'm going to rush through it. Pitt won 42-28. The ACC just can't have nice things. Georgia Tech needed to win this game. Just bottom line, needed to win this game. The fact that they didn't was bad and means that now they really need to beat Georgia. And it has nothing to do with playing in the ACC title game or anything like that. If they just want to be taken seriously as a national contender with a chance at potentially making the college football playoff, they have to beat Georgia. And everyone knows I'm going to ride or die with my ACC. But I am worried about this game. I am worried about them playing Georgia, which I can't believe I'm admitting publicly and don't really love. But hey, by the way, did you know you actually can't beat Bama? Anyway, um yeah, if it makes you feel better, Georgia Tech also can't beat Georgia. So until I am proven otherwise, I will believe the same. Do I think that Georgia Tech got robbed last year? Absolutely. I think the Pitt game was a perfect example of the fact that if Georgia Tech wants to have a chance against Georgia, because the Georgia Tech defense is just really not good. That's the bottom line. If they want to have a chance against Georgia, they truly are relying on Haynes King. And Haynes King didn't have a great game during Pitt, and that is ultimately why they lost the game. And I'm not saying he's everything, right? Because to be honest, Haynes King had a great game at NC State as well, and their defense is what lost it for them. But like Haynes King and Jamal Haynes are going to have to single-handedly together, which I guess is a double negative or something. But like the two of them together are really gonna have to win this game for Georgia Tech, because that defense is about to get diced up and down. Moving on to Louisville at SMU. The Louisville fall off needs to be studied. SMU ends up winning this game 38-6. 2 weeks ago, Louisville was like a CFP contender, ACC championship contender. So someone please tell me what happened. Kevin Jennings, the quarterback for SMU, went off. He threw for 300 yards. TJ Harden was the leading rusher, the running back for SMU. And Jordan Hudson, the Mustangs wide receiver, was the leading receiver in that game as well. They just played well. I still, like I said, would like to know what happened to Louisville. Like, truly insanity. Next up, we had Delaware at Wake Forest. I honestly, when I first saw this, I thought it was a football or a basketball game because, excuse me, what? But Wake ran away with it, beat up on a team that they should absolutely beat, won the game 52-14. Robbie Ashford threw for almost 300 yards. Chris Barnes had himself a day, which it is interesting to me. I'm assuming Damond Claiborne was sitting out this game to prepare for this week or was injured. So I hope he's okay. Carlos Hernandez was the leading receiver and had almost 200 yards receiving. Like I said, just a good game. Shows that Wake is actually a really underrated team. Someone online was saying that they're just a couple wins away from, they should have beat Georgia Tech. They got screwed. They got screwed in one other game as well. And ironically enough, had they won those two, their only loss would also be to NC State. And so just funny that Georgia Tech, UVA, and Wake Forest's main biggest loss is to NC State. NC State is one of only like 5 teams in the country that have beaten more than 4 teams that are bowl eligible. So little random tidbit on that. Next up, we have the Duke at North Carolina game for the Liberty Bell. Duke wins 32-25. Gio Lopez is the leading passer, though, with 200 yards, just over 200 yards. I'm surprised at how close this game was, truly. Not because it's a rivalry, just because I felt like Duke was a much better team this year than UNC was. But I guess everything goes out the window on rivalry week. Darian Mensah led this team to a touchdown in the fourth quarter to come back and win it. They were down for a period of time. So, if you can't tell by my hat, obviously I am ecstatic that Duke won this game. Next up, we have Furman at Clemson. Clemson won 45-10. Not much to say about that. Moving on to the game that everybody cares about, the big game, Cal at Stanford. Stanford wins 31-10. JKS is the leading passer with 270 yards. Micah Ford, however, the running back for Stanford, was the leading rusher out of New Jersey. I just remember seeing that kid get recruited. Rushed for 150 yards. What a game. What a game. Thoughts. First off, the beating was so bad that the Cal coaching staff got fired. So, thoughts and prayers to them and their families that they figure out what their next steps are. But it was that bad. Like, I had a feeling that Cal was going to lose this game and that Stanford was going to win this game, but I thought it was going to be something more like 17-13, not 31-10. I know it was at Stanford, but the difference in these two programs is obvious in the ways that they're trending. I can't wait to see who Stanford hires as their head coach. I know who the couple people that they've passed on or have fallen through. But it should be interesting. I see Stanford as a program that's absolutely headed in the right direction. If you are unfamiliar with the rivalry that is the big game before we get into this week's rivalry week, it's hysterical. I've deemed it the nerd off because, first of all, of course, in true Northern California fashion, congrats to NC State. Thank you. And Stanford reclaiming the axe to ACC honorary member Lamar for reaching the postseason for the first time. Love it all. Yes, that is actually super funny. Stanford reclaiming the axe for the ACC for the first time. That's crazy. Yeah, because it's been with Cal for the last couple of years. Anyways, it's a nerd off. It's exactly what you would expect from two schools that are like hippies in Northern California. First of all, they do it a week early, and everyone's like, why did this? That's just their tradition. Like, that's how much they're trying to be different than everybody else. I love it. Like, I'm so here for it. I want everyone to know I am not shitting on them for this. This is hysterical. And then the last 2 minutes, they have these like groups of people. I wish Alex was here to tell me what they're called, but it's like ASB Association or something like that, the Student Body Association, where they have a stare off for the last 2 minutes of the game. And not like it could end up being 5 minutes because we all know how the last 2 minutes of college football games go, where they literally just stare at each other. And then I was corrected. You don't get the axe from the other person if it changes hands. You take it from them. So obviously, Stanford's group of people took the axe from the Cal group of people. And if you don't love everything about this, like you just don't understand the tradition, the spirit, the pageantry of college football and what makes it so great. Because honestly, as much as that is like so bizarre and weird, it's awesome. It's everything that makes college football the best thing ever. Talking about this, Justin Wilcox has had 5 straight losing seasons coming into this year and has never had a winning conference record. Glad Cal is moving forward. Yeah, I mean, I would say that Cal is a very hard place to win football games at this point in time. I think Stanford is though too. And so in that regard, I don't know that both teams can be great at the same time. And it seems like the momentum is definitely in Stanford's favor at this given moment. I think them hiring Andrew Luck was really the move that Stanford needed to get them righting the ship. Yeah, it's been impressive to see the turnaround that they made this season. I think that they were at least in my rankings, they were the preseason last place ranked ACC team. Maybe not last place. Boston College might have been was definitely down there with them. But just been incredible to see the season that they pulled out, to be honest, especially with an interim head coach. I think he should absolutely be. I mean, for whatever reason, he may not be hired, but I think he should definitely at least be considered for the job after the job that he's done this year. Couple games I'm looking forward to this weekend. It's a rivalry week. Rivalry week is the best. Obviously, I'm looking forward to UNC at NC State, but I'll put my bias aside and say what else I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to every single rivalry that is an ACC SEC team. I've said it before, I'll say it again. First and foremost, I am a UNC hater. Second, I am an ACC homer. And third, there is nothing I hate more than when the ACC loses to the SEC. And so I am an ACC homer through and through this weekend, rooting for every single ACC team. I'm very excited for Georgia at Georgia Tech. It's at the Benz, but it's technically a home game for Georgia Tech. Damn, they almost had them last year. So I'm hoping that this is their year. I think their offense is better, but their defense is worse. So it should be Georgia Tech. So it should be interesting. I'm also very much looking forward to Clemson at South Carolina. And the reason why we're chatting about it online this week, but the main reason why is simply because sometimes when both teams are just booty cheeks, it just means more. And the reason why is because you literally have nothing to lose. You can just go out there and put it all on the table, right? Because it doesn't matter. It's not going to affect anything other than bragging rights and in-state recruiting. So put it all out there, do whatever it takes to win. You can do all the trick plays, you can do all the things, and it will be hilarious. So I am really excited for Clemson at South Carolina. What else am I excited for? You want to know what I'm not excited for? The big game, the game, whatever it's called. I don't care about Ohio State, Michigan. I care about it in the sense that I love the rivalry banter. I love both of those fan bases on Twitter. And I think that Xing out the M's all over campus is one of the greatest traditions in rivalry football. But no one really cares about that game like they think that we all do. I thought that SEC homerism didn't exist and that you all rooted for each other's downfall and only your team. So I guess we have officially found one of the few or first SEC homers. I figured you'd only be rooting for your team and then preying on the downfall of everybody else. But yeah, I mean, I would say if I think of all of the SEC ACC matchups, which he's also missing one because Louisville and Kentucky play each other. I'm pretty sure, or am I crazy? Anyway, no, they do play each other. So I think that the team that has the worst shot at winning is Georgia Tech, to be honest. I think that Florida State has a good chance against Florida. I think that Clemson has a good chance at South Carolina. And I think that Louisville has a good chance at Kentucky, but I am very worried for Georgia Tech. It is interesting, too. There must be something where they all play at the ACC school one year and then the SEC school the other year. No, because I guess Georgia Tech and Georgia are the ones that are not following that same path. Anyways, I digress to say it is interesting that the other three are all at home for the SEC schools this year. But that's a little look into rivalry week. If you're new here, please tag me in every single rivalry tweet that you think is funny, regardless of the rivalry, regardless of the side. I want to see it all. I think it's hilarious. Yeah, that is ACC recap. We'll keep it short and quick. We will have a long ACC recap with guests at our normal slot, Mondays, 8 p.m. next week. If you are not subscribed to the channel, like and subscribe. Total Coverage Sports, Ghost of Texas Football. That's where you can kind of find me outside of my own stuff. But that is a quick little ACC recap, and hopefully all of your teams win unless your team is UNC. Go Pack, baby. I will be doing a live show later this week with a couple UNC people that I do love as much as I talk crap. There is a few people in that fan base that are near and dear to my heart. So we'll be doing a show kind of talking about the game tomorrow night, and I'll put all the details up for that online as well. Happy Tuesday. We have midweek college football to watch. Bye, everybody.